Hello! Today is the summer solstice, the longest day and shortest night of the year. Tomorrow is the full strawberry moon, and it is also my shop update for June and July. And I'm showing you today how I am making two soaps at once. And I will link in the video description all the extruder discs, and this orange thing is an extender. I'll link the shops I got all these things from. And right here I am just making the tulip that's gonna go in a flower pot in gardening. I was making a landscape soap for June, a gardening one, and then I was making one for July, which was, I always make camping. I've made camping so many times. I can link all of the camping soap videos, but this time I wanted to do camping in the desert. I have very fond memories of a brief time in my early 20s when I lived in Arizona and how beautiful the desert was. So I just thought that would be fun this time to make it like a desert. This is the tulip piece that I just extruded, and this is its leaves, and then underneath that is the little brown, I made it with Moroccan clay soap dough, and then the leaves were spirulina soap dough, and I'm attaching the tulip to the leaves right now. So it's kind of like a sandwich of three pieces. You always want to use purified water when you attach the pieces together. And I'm showing the whole process so you can see. It's very delicate work. You got to be in the right mood. You got to have your house nice and cool to work with soap dough, because it can get frustrating. Because if you push too hard trying to get them to stick together, you're going to distort your shape. But if you don't push enough, then they won't stick together. So it's a very fine line. And this is how this video is going to be different than usual. I wanted to show you that this is how I always make things. If I have two landscapes I have to do, I will do two batches in the same day. So this is the first batch. I split it in half, and one is going to be the ground on camping, and then the other is the ground on gardening. So first step is going to be the camping, and I've got ground chamomile here mixed with olive oil. And when you use this in soap, it looks so much like sand. And the smell is eucalyptus essential oil, which is what I always made camping. I think last year was the first time that I didn't use eucalyptus. I really love a eucalyptus soap. They smell so good. Next is the ground for gardening, and this is spirulina powder mixed with olive oil. I tend to do my spirulina and my activated charcoal thick, so that, I don't know why, it seems to me it really blends in better. I usually blend in all my colorants by hand as it is. When you work with them like that and you see how fast they can thicken, it's usually your best bet. Plus, you just never know how they're going to react to essential oils. It turns such a nice green, and spirulina does fade, but in its glory, it's so pretty at first. And now here's the smell. It was a blend called Joy, as you saw, and that is bergamot, lang lang, geranium, lemon, coriander, orange, jasmine, palmarosa, and rose essential oils. It smells so flowery and pretty and just like summer. I placed pieces first before I filmed to make sure that the grounds were just ready enough to put them in. You don't want them to be too hardened up, but just to where they'll support the pieces. So here goes the flower pot into the gardening. I will also link her shop as well, but I got this watering can extruder disc from the soap artist, and I made it in purple Brazilian clay. It's really cute. I'm really happy with having a little watering can now. And next up are the spirulina little cactuses and also the tent. And the tent is actually a square column mold that I cut at an angle, and you've seen that probably in other camping videos that I've done. I've always done the tent the same way. And the little cactuses were also in the bigger size extruder disc that I used the extender piece for. And I'm putting them down into the little sand. I think if I make a desert scene again, I will just make sure that I make the spirulina just a bit darker so it stands out a little bit more against the sand. That was the only thing that I could even say about this soap, because otherwise it turned out so cute. I waited an hour and then I started melting oils for the second batch. That hour just gives that first batch enough to be really good and set. And again, I just take the batch and split it in half. And this is now the sky portion for gardening. And here I'm using the indigo infusion I made a few months ago, trying to get the right shade of blue that I want for the gardening. I think I cannot wait to have some more of the indigo from Nurture soap. It sure is my favorite. I mean, this is still good, but I really like their indigo. It's my absolute favorite, and it was out for a while and I needed it, so I got it from Brambleberry. But I'm running out of it, and so there'll be probably another infusion video coming up closer to the holidays. I've worked with this essential oil blend before, so I knew that it would be good to do the sky portion in, because I wanted both my skies as liquidy as possible so that it would flow into all the little grooves in the watering can and the flower pot and all that, and also on the camping it would flow into the in between the pieces of the cacti. And here, the sky for camping with the activated charcoal, and again mixed thick like the spirulina. Activated charcoal, as I've mentioned many times before, as you can imagine, it's charcoal, so it heats things up fast. So when you work with it, you be conscious of that in the smells that you're going to pick, and that's why I said eucalyptus is a great one for activated charcoal, because it loosens things back up, which is wonderful. Usually I edit this out, but I wanted you to see it this time. This is so important in landscape soaps, to pour the sky portion thin and to bang it down on the counter a few times, because it gets the air bubbles out and it makes sure that it all flows into all the little nooks and crannies. Here goes the crescent moon. And the whiter stars. The top pieces are just parts of the canes that I cut up, the column molds like the moon and the tent. And when I want to use like the little tiny extruded pieces like these stars, and then on the gardening one like the watering can, a good tip is to put the extruded piece that's nice and long in the freezer for just a few minutes, just not enough to be frozen, but just enough to be really cold so you can cut it with a knife where they won't get all warped and bent. And I got to cut them both the next day in the morning. And I loved them both. I just was so happy. It was one of those really good times of making soap where they just turned out just like how I hoped. They're so cute. And so everything is in my shop today for June and July. There's lots of other things besides soap, some more new candles and things. So please check it out if you're interested. Here's pictures from both of them at the end here. And also want to briefly mention my Patreon. There's a link in there. So you would get one of these soaps and another little surprise if you signed up for it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an enjoyable longest day of the year.